Alright guys, let's talk about movements along a demand curve. Now what we have here on the screen is Susie's demand curve for lollipops. It's the same demand, it's the same thing. But for the purpose of this lecture, we're just going to use it as a reference. Alright, each of these points I'm going to give a letter. So this is point A, point B, point C. Now we're going to talk about movements along a demand curve. What do we mean by that? What I mean is the movement, for example, from a point A to a point B, and the movement from a point A to a point C. What causes these movements to happen? Alright, so it's the price changes that cause the movement along the demand curve. So maybe I should write it as changes in price cause movements along the demand curve. So changes in price cause movements along a demand curve. So when the price of a good changes, what changes is the quantity demanded of that good. So when the price was at 15, we were demanding, well, Susie was demanding 2 of the goods. But when the price fell to $10, or if the price falls to $10, we realize that the QD that is now being demanded is 6. So there's a movement along this demand curve from a point A to a point B. And if we were at $10 and then price changed to a further $5 for Susie, then she'll now start demanding 10 lollipops. And so we have a movement along the same demand curve from a point B to a point C. Right? And whenever price changes, it causes a change in quantity demanded, which results in a movement along the demand curve. So price change will result in changes in quantity demanded. Alright? So quantity demanded is dependent on price. And whenever price changes, it will cause a change in quantity demanded, resulting in a movement along the same demand curve. Right? But there are things relating to demand that will cause the whole demand curve to shift, and those things are called determinants of demand, or factors of demand, as they are called on your course outline. Right? But it's the same thing as determinants of demand. Right? So this is what we mean by a movement along a demand curve. A change in the price will cause a change in the QD, which will result in a movement on the demand curve from a point A to a point B to point C, point D, whichever, depending on what the demand curve is, and it results in a movement along the demand curve. And we'll talk more about the factors or determinants of demand in another lecture.